So the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will resume this morning with the testimony of witness F. Last week, the police officer withdrew his urgent High Court bid to block his appearance before the commission and to interdict the further display of his WhatsApp messages before the inquiry. Watching developments for us, as always, is our senior reporter, Kenny Mapanga, who joins us now live from the Bridget Mabanda Justice College in Pretoria. And I suspect, Kenny, we now anticipate a pretty smooth running of the process there now that this litigation has been withdrawn, with witness F picking up from where he left off.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. Well, we can only hope that that will be the case, Ayanda, when he takes the stand at 9:30 a.m. remotely this morning. This evidence of witness F follows that week of the city of Ekurhuleni, where we saw from the vantage point of the IPED officials the status of the investigations into those allegations surrounding, or rather implicating, EMPD officers. And what we got, at least from that testimony and from those two investigators, is not only the hurdles that they had to, overcome through the investigations and the kind of policy changes that will be needed in order to give IPED more teeth in its investigations against officials. But what is also important from that evidence is that action is imminent against those particular officials. So the nation will be watching quite closely as IPED officials advance on the investigations, and at least in some of those cases, we are expecting from Makagula's testimony that action is imminent on those implicated officers. Shifting the lens back to the commission this week, we have witness F, that partially in-camera witness that appeared previously, I think it was a week before last, and he, of course, initiated that court bid to block not only his appearance before the commission's probe, but also interdict the commission from using the WhatsApp exchanges extracted from his phone as evidence before the commission, citing fair trial rights, because he is one of those individuals that are listed in the interim report, or rather the presidency statement about the interim report, where he's one of the 5 high-ranking SABC officials that are going to be referred for further investigation. And of course, a task team has already been set up to deal with that particular issue. Now, because of that fear of incriminating himself, he then stated through his lawyers that he was going to be launching that court bid. The difficulty with that legal threat is that the commission actually had nothing stopping them from continuing with their mandate at the time. So they proceeded with the WhatsApp exchanges, with Advocate Matthew Charleston stating that they're quite relevant to the work of the commission. So we've already seen quite a few of those WhatsApp messages and the very serious themes that they traverse, which are quite relevant to this probe of testing the extent to which these alleged criminal cartels had infiltrated the criminal justice system. Now, because we already got knowledge of that, it didn't seem proper or a fruitful exercise, if we could put it that way, to go to court the following week to block the very same WhatsApp exchanges that we have seen. So what happened is that his lawyers withdrew the bid with the understanding that they reserve their right to challenge anything that they feel to be out of place before this commission's probe, which brings us to today, which is the next subpoena date, according to the ruling of the chairperson, that he had to return this morning to give the remainder of that evidence. Remember, we thought that this witness was only going to deal with the CCTV footage that was shown during phase 1 last year, where he was seen leaving the home of alleged cartel member Katiso Katie Melefe with a bag. Now, we don't know what the contents of the bag are, but we know what was being implied during the testimony. But it seems that from his WhatsApp exchanges, or the extraction from his phone, that there is a bigger message coming out of those WhatsApp exchanges, whether it is that alleged arms deal with someone in his phone saved as Comrade Didi Mabuza, Deputy President, which he denies, whether it is the meetings that he allegedly set up for Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya with these alleged shadowy figures, if it is the sharing of sensitive information with alleged cartel members, allegedly Vusimuzi Matlala, or if it is the alleged political interference that we saw in the arrest of the blogger that is Musa Kawula, who had, offended the political elites, and we saw pressure through those WhatsApp exchanges to ensure that he was arrested for those offensive acts, if I could put it that way. So certainly more expected to come out of those WhatsApp exchanges, and the common theme that runs throughout his interactions with various different people in those WhatsApp exchanges is that he is common denominator, or rather, if we could put it this way, a middleman between Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, who would be his supervisor, and then, of course, the alleged shadowy figures that he continues to communicate with in those WhatsApp exchanges. And I think what the Commission will get to is explaining what the events of that day at Katiso Katie Molefe's residence was and what the context would be through his WhatsApp exchanges. Because if we see a common trend, Ayanda, of this person serving as a middleman or a common denominator allegedly for Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, then what you can expect is that the Commission may want to draw those conclusions as well when it gets to the CCTV footage of Katiso Katie Molefe's residence.
Yeah, without a doubt. And in fact, as we anticipate that line of questioning to continue today, Canny, Witness F has already made some really important concessions when he was being questioned by, I think it was Advocate Sesi Baloyi at some stage, who had questioned why, for example, he had sent that warrant of arrest, that's Witness F, to Vusimuzi Matlala, given the fact that Matlala is neither a police officer nor a peace officer, and therefore cannot legally carry out the arrest of a civilian.
Indeed, and the context of that questioning was that we were actually taken through the various tweets that this social commentator had made. And it seems that with respect to Vusimuzi Matlala, he had those intimate details of his alleged criminal dealings. So it's quite obvious that the interactions had little to do with getting assistance with an arrest regarding a social commentator, but rather this person would have been of interest to Vusimuzi Matlala because he was making those statements or offensive statements about him to his Twitter page. So essentially what Sesi Baloyi has been able to do is connect that figure to that of the alleged cartel member being Vusimuzi Matlala. We are seeing that we're about to begin now with Witness F's testimony, and the Commission is making its way through the bench. Let's take a listen to today's sitting.